Wait 1 second. 1 second.
Sure.
Let's check. I just want to make sure it's live. Angelica, did you start the stream?
I did, yes. It is live now. Thank you.
Am I good? Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you to our March 5th Mountain Community Capital Fund meeting. First thing I want to do is just kind of go down and call the roll. Just remember we're live on YouTube and keep your phones muted or until it's time for you to speak. Once I call your name, if you'll unmute and let me know that you're here, and then you can remute and we'll proceed. Tim Love.
Present.
Rachel Nygaard.
Here.
Robin Payne.
Here.
Jeff Kaplan. Jeff may be on, he said he'll be running behind a bit, so he'll be on a bit later. Sam Powers.
Here.
Tony McDowell.
Here.
Dee Williams.
Here.
Tara Brown. I don't know that I saw her on. Yasleen Gonzalez.
Here.
Jesse Maxwell. Okay, we'll get started. First thing I want to do is I just want to acknowledge that Sam Powers is going to be retiring from the city after 16 years of service. And we just really want to congratulate you on your retirement and thank you for all that you've done for the city and as well as for this committee. So congratulations, Sam. If you want to say a few words, I'm putting you on the spot. You're welcome to unmute.
It would be very, very brief. Madam Chair, thank you. Thanks for the acknowledgement. No, I'm excited to be retiring. I'll miss working with everyone, but we've got a great group here, and I'm really excited about the progress that we're starting to make here. And I'm looking forward to seeing really good things as more and more businesses are able to take advantage of this. So keep up the good work, and thanks to everyone.
Thank you so much, Sam. And,
Sam, I heard that we're going to be recruiting for some community slots.
I'm sorry, Rachel, I didn't hear.
I said, Sam, I heard we were going to be recruiting for some community slots on this board.
Maybe. I don't know. I want to stay active in the community.
Thank you, Sam. And we want to also acknowledge that Barbara Whitehorn has moved on and we wish her well. And in that regard, I want to welcome Tony McDowell to our committee, who is going to be serving interim until that spot is filled. So Tony, do you want to say a few words and introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad to be part of the group. Tony McDowell, interim finance director at the moment, and been around for a long time, been with the city since actually 1998.
Oh,
so actually even a little bit longer than Sam's been around. So but yeah, definitely looking forward to working with this group. So good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much. And I'm just getting announcements out the way before we get officially started. So terms will expire. It's kind of interesting to know that we're already reached that point where terms are expiring. So terms are expiring April 21st of this year. I've heard from most of everyone on the committee, and the only one that we won't be fortunate enough to have going forward will be Robin Payne. She's deciding to roll off the committee. So I really want to just take this time to thank Robin for her service and her commitment to this committee, and it's been invaluable. So we just really appreciate you, Robin. If you want to have a few words to say, you're welcome to at this time.
Thanks so much, Lynn. I'm happy to hand off my secretary note-taking duty to highest bidder.
Thank you. So we'll get started with our agenda. Has everyone had an opportunity to review our minutes from our last meeting from December 16th? If so, I'm going to go do a roll call. If you would just say yay or nay, whether you want to adopt those minutes. And as I call your name, please unmute and let me hear your yay or nay. Tim Love.
Yay.
Rachel Nygaard.
Yay.
Robin Payne,
Yes.
Sam Powers.
Yay.
My vote is yay. Tony McDowell,
Yay.
Dee Williams.
Yeah, yay.
And Jeff, I don't know that he's on yet. I don't want to omit him. So no, I don't see him on the call yet. So is there, I think I did that backwards, right? Because I didn't do the motion. That was supposed to go first, right? I gotta wake up. Okay. So scratch what I just said. Is there a motion to accept the minutes from December 16th?
I move that we accept the minutes. Yes.
Dee Williams. And is there a second?
Sam Powers, second.
Okay. So let me ask, do I need to go down the roll again, or can we use that information just for?
I think if the secretary is okay recording the original vote, we're probably okay.
Okay. Robin, can you note that, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. So, okay, next on our agenda is loan presentation. So I'm going to turn it over to Yasleen.
Good morning, everyone. So we've actually got 3 loans to take a look at today. We did already go ahead and close one since it was below the approving thresholds, and we have 2 of them to get approval on. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can everybody see my screen? Okay, perfect. So this is the first one, which is we've already closed this one. So the amount was for $20,000, Black or African American women. The business has been existing since 2019. Not much profit since it was kind of a part-time business, and so her net profit was in the negative $7,300 in 2019. She's in Buncombe County. The purpose of the loan is for equipment purchasing, advertising, and also working capital. Essentially, it is not a secure loan. We do have a UCC, which is a blanket lien with the state of North Carolina. The term of the loan is 120 months, 6 months no payment, 6 months interest only, and then 108 principal and interest payments. And there are no real concerns with the credit history, no late payments or bankruptcies or anything like that. 1 full-time job created and one part-time job created. And then they have received over 5 hours of technical assistance in advertising, website development, and will continue to receive technical assistance provided by Mountain Mist Works in accounting and financial bookkeeping. So this is the one that we have already completed. I'll move on to the next. So this one, the ask is for $50,000. They are located in the city of Asheville. Person of color. They started in 2019. Their net profit in 2020 was $32,000, which is quite good. Their debt service coverage ratio is 4.90 times based on their already provided financials. This loan is for working capital and also to increase virtual presence. And they are also wanting to launch wholesale. Again, the terms are 120 months, 12 months of interest only, then 108 payments of principal and interest. The score was a little bit lower due to a bankruptcy that was filed in 2019. And jobs created, they have 3 jobs full-time retained and 5 part-time retained. They have received over 4 hours of technical assistance in advertising and also creating a marketing plan. So we're asking an 85% guarantee on a $50,000 loan.
Are there any questions for this loan for Yasleen?
I I do have one. This is Dee.
Mhm.
What kind of a business is this? I know you don't have the SIC code down. The
This
North
is a
Industrial.
retail business.
Excuse me, say that again.
Retail.
Retail.
Yes.
Okay, so the 32,000 in profit, where was that garnered from? Was from a Schedule C tax return, or was it from her own financials?
This is from tax return.
Is she a C, a 1023, or a 1065? What return?
She's a Schedule C.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, the bankruptcy was 2019. Is that correct? Is she in absolute, or is she in a restructuring bankruptcy? What type, I guess, is I'm asking.
I
you
don't
know?
know bankruptcy that she filed, but it's been resolved.
Okay, it's been resolved? You mean
Yes.
it's been
It's
paid?
been
Is that
closed. It's been closed. It's no longer active.
okay? From the first one, I have also another question. I know you're on this one, but you
Mhm.
showed a net loss of 7,300. Was that an operating loss? Was it a Section 179 depreciation, or what was that loss on the schedule? What was it attributed to? Was it net operating?
It was not operating. It was just cost of goods and just operating costs. It was her first year. So
First year of operations?
yes.
Okay. And wanted to just ask, what is the PITI on the first one and the second one when it becomes operable?
I don't understand.
Just the payment stream. What is the payment each month once they begin to pay each one of these people for cash flow purposes? Just taking a look.
Oh, it's not. I think that they're around five. One in the 50,000 is 500. Sorry, cut off here.
500 a month?
Yes,
Is that right?
500.
Okay. And the first one, I'm sorry, what was that monthly pay?
Give me a second here. I'm trying to get the.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
It cut off part of the. Right there. So the first one is 269.60.
And that term is 60 months, is that right?
No, it's 120 months.
10 years, is that right?
That's 10 years, yes.
Okay, and this is is this working cap, or is this to buy fixed assets? It's 10-year long.
It's essentially for working capital.
Both are working cap, is that correct? I'm sorry, okay.
And
All
then
right.
additional equipment purchases, but they are
You have
they're
blanket liens.
enough, right?
Okay, all right, thanks so much.
And the reason why the terms are so are 10 years is because they're also under this additional program the Mountain Bisworth has started, which is called the Catalyst Fund,
Mhm.
Multicultural Catalyst Fund, and they qualified for a 10-year term at 4% interest.
Okay, so we have another program we're interfacing with to facilitate these loans. It's called the Catalyst Fund, is that right?
That's
Is
right.
this the first? Okay, do we have any information on that available to us, or this is?
It is on Mountain Bisworth's website. You can go on there and read all about it. Yeah, it's a Mountain Bisworth program.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, are these refis or any of these? These are all new money, right?
It's all new money.
New money, okay. All right, thanks so much. And could we possibly, from now on, have these forms for our own records, just so we can know what's going on? Because it has no PII on it. Is that a possibility? I've been asking this question for a while.
Sure, yeah, I can send them over to Rosanna and she can send them out to everyone.
That would be great. And also, Matt, just one final question. Could we also have this form for all of the loans that we've made to date? Because this is the way we keep data. This is the beginning of data collection, as far as I'm concerned, from a lender's perspective, just to see the portfolio.
So I'm Mountain Bisworks is in charge of keeping all the data. So I do have all this data.
But then we're accountable to city council and county commissioners. And so when they discuss with me, I don't want to look like Boo Boo the Fool with Deborah Campbell. So I'm just asking that each one of us get, from the day that these loans started, a copy of this form that Jane and I came up with so that we can have it just to be able to help people, really. And sometimes that, I think that's why we were appointed, because we are seasoned, if you will, and we can help people. And I'm so happy to hear about the Catalyst Fund. I really am. And so these are the kinds of things that, we need to know. So that's the only reason why I asked.
Sam, you have a
Thank
question?
you.
Thank you, Dee.
I do.
Thank
Dee,
you.
thank you for your questions. I guess my only question would be not so much a concern, but again, as trustees in some ways of this program, we also want to make sure things stay confidential, things like that. I wonder if there is a place, Dee, that, and I am not a technology person, but if there is either through a Dropbox or a password protected site, someplace where we could go to view that information and have access to that information, but perhaps it's not out, it's not out in the community as such. And I'm just asking that.
May I please be recognized for just a moment? The city attorney, from what I know, has reviewed this, and there are no concerns with PII. From what I've been told, it's not that we're trying to put this out in the community. This is for informational purposes. And I don't know, I want to just speak very candidly. It feels funny when when you've been appointed to a committee and you don't really have a firm grasp on who is getting what, and when you are held to account, as we should all be when we're appointed by an elected representative, and some of this represents taxpayer money, we need to be able to have a point of reference. I don't understand, what are you able to glean as personally identifiable information from this form? I guess that is, I've worked for the Census Bureau, and they're the keepers of PII. And so when we concocted this form, we were very careful not to betray that. I guess I just don't understand the concern, which is why it hasn't gone out in over a year. If this was a concern from all along, and it was sent to Brad Branham, by the way, and he expressed no concerns whatsoever. So I don't understand what the concern is, other than we have a firm grasp on what's going on the committee, as we should, because we're accountable. We were appointed by elected officials. That's all I have.
I don't disagree, Dee, with anything you've said. I just want us to be accountable. And again, the only other comment I would make is we're not the lending institution. The lending institution is doing its due diligence, and what we're being asked to do as appointees from City Council and County Commission is to be the fiduciary for the loan guarantee portion.
Yes, and I agree. And you know what fiduciary means? It means trust.
It does.
It means not just, it's called healthy skepticism, if you will. All boards and commissions, and I think, and we can get into the philosophy of it, but the resistance is just what makes me so curious. And I don't think it's unreasonable for you to proffer on your way out the door what you think it should be. But
okay, at this point, I think we need to allow Yasleen to continue. Thank you.
Well, that's fine. That's all I've got. Thank you for that.
Sure.
And I have, and I am fine with if the city manager or the city attorney has approved it, Madam Chair, and Dee, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Thank you, Dee.
And we can come back to that discussion. I don't want to cut in on Yasleen's time.
So if there are no additional questions, I would like a vote on the $50,000 loan.
Are there any questions about this one? Tim, you had a question?
Yasleen, this is Tim. I appreciate you bringing this, and excited to hear the coordination with the Catalyst Fund and using all of these programs together to kind of move the needle in this area. The question I have is probably the one that we ask about everything these days, which is about COVID. And, these two businesses, how have they been impacted by COVID? Have they seen this as an opportunity? Just some context there I think is important. Do they feel sustainable, after COVID, that type of thing?
Yeah. So if you see under this one, a lot of the funding is going actually to increase their virtual presence because they did come up with that opportunity to allow them, even though COVID still exists and it's still spreading. They have found a way to increase their sales by using a virtual platform. So a lot of the funding will go towards them or for that. They have actually had some increase in sales because of COVID. They're in the industry where they have actually benefited from it. So this one, they're doing great. The expansion in the virtual presence will be very beneficial to them. The other $20,000 one, actually right here, she, sorry, let me think about this one. She has not been affected by it, again, because a lot of the service that she provides, and it's hard to say to explain about this one because it's trying not to use certain words. No, but they haven't really been affected by it. They've been resilient and have found other ways to offer their services without having to really be in contact with or close contact with their clients.
That's helpful, Yasleen. And I think it's important for this group to know kind of, these COVID focused businesses, because the hope, is of course that one day we're more normal, whatever that means. And
right.
But also I think it's exciting to see a business that's kind of reframing and recasting with a web presence, and as we think about how we grow this program and success in the space, there's maybe a lot of businesses that haven't thought to move in that direction, but maybe should as a way to increase their business beyond just the public health aspects. So
right.
Good to see. Thanks.
Any more questions about the two loans that Yasleen has talked about already? Is there a motion to accept or approve to guarantee the $50,000 loan that she's presented?
So moved. This is Robin.
Thank you, Robin. Is there a second?
Second by Sam Powers.
Thank you, Sam. Okay, it's been moved and properly second, and I'm just going to call the roll, and if you'll just give me your yay or nay. Don't forget to unmute. Tim?
Yay.
Rachel? Do we lose Rachel?
I didn't forget to unmute it. Just give me a sec. Yay.
Thank you. Robin?
Yay.
Jeff? Is Jeff on yet? I don't think I see him. Sam?
Yay.
My vote is yay. Tony?
Yay.
D?
Yes.
Thank you. So, Yasleen, that one has been approved. Do you want to go ahead and present your third loan?
Yes.
Thank you.
So let's see here. Okay. So this one is a request for $50,000 as well. They have been existing since 2019. It is a person of color and LMI as well. The net profit for 2019 was negative $28,000. It was their starting year, so there were some operating expenses there. However, in 2020, their net income jumped up to $31,000. Based on the 2020 financials, which is a tax return, The debt service coverage ratio is 4.77 times. They are located in Buncombe County. Essentially, the purpose of the loan is for working capital and also to increase a presence in a different market, which is Charleston, South Carolina. And it is a blanket lien. The terms is 120 months, 12 months of interest only, then 108 months of principal and interest. Their payments are $552.05 a month. No real concerns. Credit score is a little lower due to some collection accounts in 2020, but they are now working on settling those accounts. 3 full-time jobs retained, and they will be an applicant to Mountain BizWorks Scale-Up Program, which they will receive over 10 to 15 hours of technical assistance, and also can be a candidate to apply for a crowdfunding campaign. So we're asking for 85% guarantee on a $50,000 loan in this one.
Okay. Are there any questions on this loan?
Yasleen, what type of business was it? Was it retail? Was it service or?
Retail.
Okay, thanks.
Dee, did you have any questions? I see you unmuted. Okay.
I did. And looking at the, what type of return is this? Is it a C, a 65, or what? What is it?
It's a C.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Yasleen on this loan? Okay. Is there a motion to accept this $50,000 loan?
I'll move.
Okay, thanks,
Second.
Robin. Is that you, Tim?
That's right.
Awesome. Okay, it's been moved and properly second. I'll go down the list, and if you'll unmute and give me your yay or nay. Tim?
Yay.
Rachel?
Yay.
Robin?
Yay.
Sam?
Yay.
My vote is yay. Tony?
Yay.
Dee?
Yay.
Thank you all. So thank you, Yasleen, for those. Did you have anything else to present in the way of these loans?
No, that will be it for me. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I just want to ask Yasleen, given the questions that Dee was asking about the loans, is there a way for that to be built in the presentation as well? Because we do want to make sure we're making informed decisions on these loans. And I do want to, I know it's not on the agenda, but I do want to take a minute to try to figure out if the form is sufficient, if this is all we need, or if there's additional information and how we want to handle, because it's not an unreasonable request to ask to get this information beforehand, but how do we do that and protect the privacy of the borrowers? Is that possible?
So I'm okay with sending this information out before the meeting.
Okay.
I just wasn't aware who I could send that to or
Gotcha.
could do that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I went ahead and just presented it,
That's fine.
shared my screen.
Okay.
I do think that the form could use a little bit of work. Honestly, I think there's some other information that we could possibly add to just give you guys the most information possible.
Okay.
And probably a different format as well. And the reason why I said that is just because it's a little difficult. It's an Excel form, so it's a little difficult for me to create it. So I do think that there can be other information that we could, that you guys could benefit from.
Okay.
That would, of course, not disclose any personal information.
Okay. So does anybody have any questions or comments about this? Dee, go ahead.
I do. Thank you for that, Yasleen. I just really want to say the only thing that we were trying to do was to try to provide the committee, the board with information. I think we've learned enough just from what's been going around, what accountability means, and that the board know, even though Mountain Biz is the lender of record and of course ascribes to due diligence, our I guess we represent the public and we represent those who put us here. So I was not trying to be difficult or anything like that, but we're here because of our expertise and I guess our feet in the community. It's been a long haul just to get this forum done because you see, it's been over a year. I checked, I think it was December 20th, 20, whatever it was, 2019 or whatever. And we haven't had it out yet. So anything that could be done to promote transparency and just increase our knowledge base is what I'm after. I'm not trying to be difficult, despite what you've heard. I'm a technician as well. And I do believe that we are accountable to those who appointed us, and most of all to the public and to these entrepreneurs. If we can help them, this is information we use. This is also a source of data. Data means everything, everything. Opinion doesn't mean anything. It's all about data. So thanks, you guys. Appreciate anything you could do to get this out.
Sure. Rachel, you had a question or comment?
I'm in support of making the forms available to the full committee. Going back, it's only 8 or 10 loans we've done so far, so it should be fairly easy. And we can put them all in one place in our Google Drive. If there's a need to revisit with legal to make sure that's okay, it should be fairly easy because my recollection is we did that diligence at the outset. I also think Yaslene's suggestion of evolving the form as we learn more about the program makes a lot of sense. My suggestion would be to look at our data sheet, which is sort of a roll-up of the information from the form, the Excel sheet. And maybe there are components on data reporting, maybe there are more elements that we would want to include there.
Okay. So, Yaslene, if you would go back and if you could just send those forms to Rosanna and I, that would be great. And then I think Rosanna can probably house them somewhere, but I can send them out to the committee as well so that they can have those forms. And then going forward, if you would just do the same, you and whoever, like additional lenders, and I can email the three of you all just to kind of confirm what we've talked about today. And then if we want to take a look at what the form needs in addition, if you could just make notes somewhere, maybe we can talk about a different format and to make it easier, because since you, the lenders, are using the form, it has to work for you all. But I do want to thank Dee and Jane for the work they did in creating the form and giving us something that we could use up to this point. So thank you for that work. And Jeff, welcome. Good to see you.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. Apologies for having conflict for the first hour, but I'm here now and it's thrilled to see you all.
Good. So are there any questions about what we've talked about so far? Jeff, we've gone over 2 loans. One loan had been approved prior to by Mountain BizWork because it was under the approval amount. It was for $20,000. And then we've just looked at 2 loans for $50,000. And what Yaslene is going to do is going to send those forms that she uses to present. So I'll be able to forward those forms to you and you'll be able to take a look at the loan. And then if you have any questions, you can certainly email Yaslene directly about those questions. Tim?
Sounds good.
Yep. Thanks, Lynn. I just wanted to chime in and, one sort of thank everyone that's providing feedback, Dee, Yaslene. I think that's what this is about. So let's continue to do that. And I think we all have to remember that this program is still relatively new.
Yeah.
There's not a blueprint for it. We copied, obviously, Charlotte to some extent, but we're in uncharted territory. So let's continue to make it better, bring recommendations, and no hard feelings at all. It's the ultimate goal. We need to be thinking about the community. And I think that's what we're doing and trying to do. So that's all I wanted to add.
That's awesome. Thank you, Tim. Any other comments while we're talking about this subject? Okay, so Jeff and I are going to do a switcheroo. Jeff, do you have the agenda before you? Awesome. So Jeff, from this point on, is going to
You know what? I thought I did. I just pulled up a June agenda. Hang on.
I sent an email out this morning with the link.
Okay.
Yeah. So while you were working on that transition, we'll talk about loan approvals. We just did that, right? Yaslene, do you want to review those up to date? I have you talking about, I guess, where we are, our final numbers, or where we are.
Yes.
What we've done thus far, I guess.
Let me pull up.
Okay.
spreadsheet.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt. I have the agenda up now. Are you saying that we're at the
We're on
success story?
review.
Review
we're
up-to-date loan approval?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
where we are. So at this point, Jeff is going to lead the meeting and I'm going to be on mute.
Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate the flexibility and everyone for your grace and working through a switcheroo here. Okay, so Yasleen, are you prepared to present? Okay.
Yes. So year to date, with the loans that you guys just approved, we have done a guaranteed total of $333,967.50. So that is the total guarantee amount. The loan amount that we have done is $549,500, which means based upon the numbers that Jesse has sent out, we have a max guarantee amount of $450,000. So right now we have $116,000 left on the guarantee. So we're running out of money. That is a conversation that I think we need to have, but it's probably a whole separate meeting on getting additional funding, or not sure who would be the right person to talk to about that, but that's definitely something that we need to start taking a look at, whether it's with the city of Asheville or Buncombe County. But I do think all the lenders need to be present to have that conversation as well. And I think I'm the only one present now. So it would be good I could try to get in touch with the other lenders and just to have a conversation with them. But I think it's definitely something that we need to start thinking about. So that is the volume right now. Now, there are 2 loans that we have not yet closed that are still pending. One, I'm not sure if you guys remembered, but it was a loan that we approved. That was probably the largest one that we've done, which is the max guarantee of $70,000. That one has not yet closed. It's still pending. The reason why is because they decided to just wait because of COVID. So it's been approved. However, it's pending. So those funds have been accounted for, but not yet used. Okay. And then there's another one that includes a refi, and I presented it, I believe it was in February or no, I can't remember, or I'm sorry, I think it was December, November. That one has not yet closed either. So we it's still pending due to some problems that we had, but nothing too concerning. So we're working on that one. So there's 2 of them that have not yet been closed. One is for $50,000, and then the other one is for $70,000. So those are still pending. However, they have been approved and are accounted for in the total.
Thank you, Yasleen. So that would be, from looking at that sheet, loan 9 and 10, theoretically. Is that right?
It would be loan 5 and 6.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm asking you that they're already accounted for in the pipeline.
They are.
So we consider that 116,000 left for the guarantee, that we're not including that in that figure.
We are.
We are including those 2 loans in the figure. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And how does the Rachel raise her hand? Go ahead, Rachel.
Tim had his up first.
I see a lot of hands now. Okay, so we'll go Tim, Rachel, D.
Great, and I have a siren in the background, so I'll delay just a second. So thank you for that, Yasleen and Jeff. A question I have, and I think we should talk about, amongst the lenders, but amongst this group is, how we view the loan guarantee. And Right now, that 85% threshold is assuming a lot of risk. It's in my opinion. And so the question would be, for me, is there a way for us with some of these loan guarantees that are less risky, quote unquote, can we view that loan guarantee percentage differently? Or, as a loan matures and goes through the cycle, is it fair to view that loan as less risky over time? That way we can free up more of these guarantee dollars for more people in the community, rather than sort of viewing it the way we currently are, which is, I think, a very cautious view, which is understandable because it's a new program. But that's something I would want to talk about before we immediately look to put additional funds, just from a practical standpoint. I think we all need to understand that.
Thank you so much, Tim. And Tim, I want to make sure that I'm capturing your questions accurately. So you're asking, how do we view the loan guarantee? Is there potential to lower the guarantee percentage, which would kind of hedge against the risk the city and county take on for the guarantees? And should we be considering as well, almost like a de-risking metric over time, that as the loan's being repaid, we consider that less risky? So I don't want to call it a scorecard, but it's a little bit more flexible approach to understand the guarantee amount that's floating out there.
Yeah, I think you summed it up well. And, I'll also say that I am not an underwriter, a CDFI, so me throwing these ideas out can be dangerous. But I just think we should think about it and see what we can do that's creative and innovative, that matches kind of our community. Because ultimately, I've said it a couple times, but, this is about helping as many people as possible. So let's figure out a way to do it.
Very good. Thank you, Tim. Rachel?
Thanks, everyone. I'm looking at the document that was sent out called Mountain Community Capital Fund Loans, which has a list. And it looks like we need to do some updates. I had a hard time interpreting which loans we were working on, but I think that the loans we are working on are not reflected on the sheet. There are 8 there, and so maybe that takes us to 11. But as I look at those approval dates, it struck me that the one that you mentioned, Yasleen, that's pending, is about a year since it was approved. It looks like the 6th of March, a year ago. Do we have a sense of how long what's a reasonable amount of time to leave it pending before it sort of expires and it would need to come back in?
Right. No, we were planning to go ahead and bring it back, but I wanted to just keep those dollars there because it is a rather sizable request. So I wanted to make sure we had the money available when they do come back to the table, which should be probably in the next couple months. And I will bring it back with additional updates. So.
Thank you. You're muted, Jeff.
Thank you, Rachel. Lynn, I see you raise your hand, but Dee's was up first. We'll go to Dee and then Lynn.
Thank you, Jeff. And thank you, everyone. Do we have any way to just assage how these loans are performing that have been, because a lot of them we know were delayed. Is there any type of a cash flow analysis or a financial picture of the in and out sources and uses of funds statement? Maybe, I don't know if that's the correct term I want to use, but to just see how these loans are flowing in terms of cash being returned to the loan pool, or is it that they don't come back anyway, that Mountain Biz is, because you're the lender, the pool, the guarantee is no longer there. But I guess my question is, I guess I thought too, on another note, that the large loan was, or the balance was what you said it was, the 100 and some thousand, but really it's like the reserve is for the company that postponed. Is that right? That's pretty much. the case that the funds have been postponed pending this company's desire to have the money? Has it been reserved? Is there a policy? Have we reserved?
It's been
Okay.
reserved.
Okay,
Yeah.
so do we have a policy in writing that reserves these funds, or is this something just based on just a practice that's come into purview? I mean, how is that done? I guess I'm just looking at the way things are traditionally done, policy versus preferences, because those funds may be able to go out into the community. We're always looking for money. And so I guess, was it because of the COVID epidemic, or what justified it and who justified it? Is that pretty much lender discretion is what I guess I'm getting at. I'm just trying to figure out how things work. I mean, really. So thank you for that.
Not that I know of, there's nothing in writing that says that we can or should or shouldn't reserve the funding. However, I do want to point out that we have not turned anyone away because we've held on to this money. Of course, if another business were to come that needs the funds that are being on hold right now or held, we would disperse those, or we would use that portion to guarantee the loan. So at this point, we have not held anyone back because we have this, we have the $70,000 on hold for this specific client. Now they are working through some things. They know about the program. They're involved in the community. So because of that, we felt that it was important to reserve those funds for now, until now. Now, like I said, if another business comes and they're a good fit and we can put those dollars to better use, definitely we will be doing that. So we have not turned anyone away because those funds have been on hold.
Okay, so my one final, and I'm done because I got to leave too. Is that reflected in the balance that you gave when you gave the report about there being the 115,000? So do we deduct the 70,000 because it's okay? So
no, it in there.
How is that? What is the balance with this reserve? Is it properly 185,000 or is it 115,000? When we give a report to council, or it's 180. Is that right? I'm sorry.
180,000.
180,000. Okay. All right. Thank you. I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dee. Lynn?
Thank you, Chair Jeff. So my question is kind of along the lines of Rachel and Dee. I'm thinking that there should be some kind of policy in place. This loan is over a year and it sounds like funds are held, and I understand that no other loan has come into play. And right now you're the only CDFI who's done loans, but that could potentially be a problem if there were other CDFIs doing loans and that those funds were held. So I would like to, maybe not today, but us just be thinking about how long we want to hold funds or hold a loan reserve, for lack of a better word, before we put that money back into our guarantee pot and move forward, and how we would address that loan coming again to be, reevaluated for another approval.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, if the committee decides to go ahead and make those funds available, definitely, we're not gonna fight that or anything. So that's definitely a fair point.
Okay, thank you so much, Lynn. Robin, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, I just remember last year we had talked about another way to kind of increase the pool of funds is to be reaching out to other community partners that we wanted to be part of this fund, the Dogwood Health Trust and Community Foundation and things like that. And I just wanted to keep that top of mind in case we do want to grow the fund. That's all.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to piggyback on Dee's comment, unless there's another hand up. I'm very curious to see how these funds, how these loans specifically are performing across, if there's a way, Gosley, not to make you do more homework today, but across the whole Mountain BizWorks portfolio, or even the whole CDFI and the community portfolio, Because in the event we do want to request more funding allotments or kind of, a piggy bank to hold aside from our funding partners, I would love to be able to say, I'm sure everyone agrees that because of these loans, can we show they perform better or they're repaid faster? Or certainly I imagine the access to diverse entrepreneurs is going to be much higher in this category. But understand that performance comparatively, I think will be an important metric. And as I'm going to also now kind of going on Lynn's comment about holding the loan over a year, or I shouldn't say it that way, but the one that was pending last March and will be coming up again soon. I'm very curious about how, what the shape or the status of that business prior to the COVID pandemic, and how COVID has touched every single business in the world. I mean, everyone's been affected. So I want to know, is it like how many businesses are able to say, all right, we're not going to enter the market yet, wait a year, when COVID's over, we're going to come back in. I imagine there's going to be some alterations to the business plan, or the partners perhaps. And as far as how long we can hold loans, I feel like that's why we moved towards this shared document where all the lenders had access to know who was making moves on what amounts of funding, so that there was some transparency, at least among those folks holding that confidential information, so they weren't, for lack of a better word, squatting on funds.
Yeah, and the other, like Jeff said, the other lenders do have access to that document. I know that there's been some changes in the other two lending partners, but I've had shared it with the people that were in the committee. I don't know who's in charge now. But we can definitely get that updated once we know who's going to be joining the committee every month.
Yeah, Yaslin, I would say that's appropriate. I think you were doing the right thing, contacting the right folks. And may I request someone from, does anyone on staff know who, or have the contact of those two lenders and who the right point of contact is? If not, I can volunteer to just kind of try to connect some dots, make sure the right contact people represented on our board or committee.
Yeah, Jeff and Yaslin, I think we have contacts. At our last meeting, I think we had a full CDFI representation. So okay. Let me take a look at that.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Now, this conversation started with Tim's questions about kind of the guarantee amount, and then Robin's with bringing on other partners. I would be so forward to say, I don't think it's one or the other, but I think everything should be on the table. And we should really consider every possible way to deploy as much capital in the community that we can. Turn over every rock so we can pull up. Now, would the board have a suggestion as somebody want to take this on, or is there a follow-up committee that should be discussing, kind of making a lead generation list of what partners we should be bringing this program up to, or I guess really based on the performance of the loans, we can understand if we have a leg to stand on to go back to the city and county for a larger allocation.
Can we do some of the beginning work as a committee in our regular meetings?
I would think so. I think it's probably a good use of our time. So how about on our next agenda, we carve out time to, probably an easier one to start with is identifying community partners who could join us. Robin already listed a handful. And then from there, divvy up who does the outreach. Is that acceptable? Okay, see some thumbs up, great. And who does set our next agenda? I guess, Robin, you have that in the minutes, that'll be a new agenda item?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic, thank you. And Yaslin, to circle back, if I understand right, we're not actually, you did say we are gonna vote on approving two loans today, or reviewing 2 loans?
Oh, that's already, we've already done that.
Okay, great. Sorry to the party. In that case, is there any other discussion regarding I guess the Mountain Capital Community Fund loan sheet as a topic of this agenda item.
Just to chime in real quick, I think it's a good idea to discuss the potential partners. I think it would also be good for the CDFIs to huddle either on this meeting or internally about kind of that guarantee percentage. And I'd be glad to participate. Again, I'm not an underwriter, but I think that's an important conversation that needs to happen. So.
And I wonder if in the bylaws we're required to guarantee that 85%, or if a CDFI could just say, on this one, we're only going to accept a 50% guarantee. Like, is that something you would need a change in our bylaws, or if that's something that they can arbitrarily just go forward and say we're only taking a certain amount of guarantee? Do you raise your hand?
Thank you, Jeff. I was just saying that most things are based on actuarial tables and experience. In other words, risk assessment. So we'd have to have more information on the performance of these loans in order to justify lowering that guarantee. If we set it at 85%, and I think the lenders would too, but we also need to concomitantly to have access to that information. So I think that's one of the chores that we're going to have to, if there is any track record of the payouts from these loans that have been made. Some of them have been, and of course, reasonably delayed to just give them a chance to get going. But certainly we need to be able to know how they are paying and so forth. That's the only thing that reduces risk anyway, and credit ratings too, is that payment stream and the risk that's assessed. So is that something that we can put on the next agenda or whatever? Thanks.
I like your suggestion, Dee, and it brings me back. It's kind of in my structured thinking to that Excel sheet that has a list of all the loans. Do we have the right information on there to give us a picture of those loans? This was kind of at the point of approval, and it doesn't get touched again. Maybe we can add some information about like when loan repayments have begun. I don't have a sense of looking at these ones that maybe the first three that were approved in 2019, are they in the life cycle of their loan where they're making repayments? Are they on time with those repayments? Those kinds of things.
Yeah, Yasleen, not to keep putting on the spot, but as the most prolific lender in our community, I imagine there is some kind of grace period before loans start being repaid. But would it be possible to add that column of is repayment happening or payments being made towards a loan, and maybe percentage paid back? Would that be reasonable?
Yeah, we can do that. We do have, I think I can pull a statement with all of the MCCF loans that we've done and showing balances and all that. So at the beginning, they only have 30 days before their payment begins. So in most of these, we also did an interest-only period in the beginning. So yeah, I will look into getting that form for my portfolio manager.
That sounds great. Thank you. I see a couple of folks are jumping off. Thank you all for your time this morning. Any other discussion on this topic? All right, so if not, can we recap our action items? We're looking at getting points of contact at the other CDFIs, ensuring we can get more representation at our meetings. CDFIs would consider appropriate guarantee percentages. At the next meeting, we'll also be workshopping a lead list of community partners to round out the fund. Those are all the action items from this section. Okay. My neighbor is sawing something on the roof. So if you hear some background noise, that's what's going on. So and again, apologies for being late. Are we going back now? Do we move around the agenda? Is next the success story? Okay. And Sam's got 10 o'clock also. All right, Sam, thank you. Bye, Tony. Thank you so much. And who is on presenting our success story?
Yasleen, is that you presenting the success story?
I wasn't aware of it, but
And this was sent out ahead of time, correct? It's in that email with all the attachments.
yeah. Is this something that we should maybe table to the next meeting? Everyone can see
I'm fine with
what
that.
the success story, just so that they can, and it is a public. They know that this is going public and has already gone public, so we can go ahead and show pictures and all that. So
Yes, Lane, that makes sense to me that we would have that conversation together with the conversation about other partners, because we're going to need to kind of come up with our pitch about the fund. And so getting those talking points and facts together will certainly include some of the data that Dee drives us to keep our eyes on, and then some of the anecdotal and success information like would come from that story.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, very good. Move that to the next agenda. Robin, is your hand up? Is that a new hand up or is that from prior?
I think that must have been prior. No.
Okay, no problem. And then our last agenda item is public comment. Is there any public comment in today's meeting? Okay then. Well, apologies on my own personal behalf for being tardy. I was at YPA before this. Normally I'd skip it, but I was a speaker tonight. I couldn't get out of it. So thank you, Lynn. This was fun, tag teaming, chairing.
Yes,
I like this.
we got to do this again.
This is a hoot. All right. If that's it, then do we call for a motion to adjourn? Is that correct?
You can, but at this point, we can't vote. Wait, hold on. Yeah, it's just 3 of us.
Understood.
So I guess
Okay.
we'll just have to end it.
And we will just simply adjourn our monthly meeting. Look out for the email with the agenda notes, and we'll see you at the next one.
Happy
Thanks,
Friday.
everybody.
Happy Friday. Have a great weekend. Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Take care.
You're welcome.